Okay, so Firefly just released today. As usual, I am making a day one video. I spent a long time looking at the potentials and stuff. Um, what I can say for now is that she's okay. She's not crazy, and she's also weird in the sense that her support build one currently cannot function properly. You have no way to activate some of the requirements of some of the potential, especially the Lucent requirement. You cannot activate that in any shape or form. So the build one is kinda non-existent right now. You cannot use it. So I'm only going to be talking about build 2. As usual, I'm gonna put the presets and the build images in the description. But yeah, so what I did is at first I tried some Shia stuff with Firefly and Tilia. Then I tried some Jinglin stuff with Firefly and Tilia for kind of people that just began or people that don't have Shia. And I also tried some Minova stuff. This is not my preset, this is a preset I found on Discord. I'm gonna link it in the description as well, but that's basically this preset is like you use Minova just for looks damage taken, and the rest is kinda irrelevant. Minova kinda deals damage still, so she's not completely worthless. You can build some damage on her if you play her as main. It's not that bad, so maybe some potentials are way better than others. I would need to look at them in a bit more detail, but yeah, this one is basically the only one you want. Firefly has that stuff, Chili has stuff. So yeah, Firefly. Um, so Firefly is a Lux versatile tracker, kinda like Donna, Nazuka, all that stuff, Coronis. I think they're releasing a lot of versatile. I think we're done actually. I mean, we got Otoha. I think we got one for each element. I don't think we're missing any. So maybe they'll start releasing some other stuff soon. I hope. But yeah, Firefly, versatile. Uh, as I said, you like other versatile trigger, you want to play her as a support. That's where she will most likely shine. And on paper, her build one looks really nice, but you cannot. Uh, we don't have a main trigger or a versatile trigger that can apply Lucent, so you cannot get like this 160% skill damage, and you also just cannot activate this potential. Like you won't get any lux damage taken. So these two potentials are basically dead potentials. So support build 1 is not usable as long as we don't have a trigger that can apply marks that trigger Lucent. All of the Lux triggers we have currently, when they trigger a mark, they summon Thunderbolt. So that's the thing that happens when you trigger the mark, and that's the same text on every trigger, like Laro, Jinglin, and such. Yeah, summon Thunderbolt. The only trigger that actually has Lucent right now, because we have one that have Lucent, it's Firefly. Firefly, you can see trigger Luxmark and doesn't spawn a Thunderbolt, but she generates Lucent, which inflicts Glimmer. So because you cannot play Firefly as main and as support in the same team, our support build 1 is currently worthless. So right now we only play support build 2 on Firefly, whether you're using her as a sub DPS. So with like Shia main, Shia will deal all the damage, Firefly will be like uh, a secondary DPS. She can perform fine with support build 2. Um, there's some stuff I'm gonna talk about when I'm going to go over the presets a bit later, but Luminous Onslaught is not, the uptime on Luminous Onslaught is not that insane on other triggers if you're running someone else than Shia as main. So sometimes you won't take that, but Blade Flash, Radiant Triple, Domain of Purity are all kinda very good. Cosmic Brilliance is also pretty good. I think her ultimate potentials can be good, but the problem is that her ultimate has a very long cooldown, it's 40 seconds. Energy cost, I mean, with Shia you won't feel the energy cost problem, but the cooldown is a bit huge. So if you want to deal damage with her ultimate, if you're running Shia main, I mean, you technically can. I don't think the potentials are that great though. I think just focusing on her build 2 is better. Support build 2 deals mainly auto attack damage. She deals almost no skill damage with this build, since everything that deals damage is just auto attack damage. The only part that deals a bit of skill damage is probably just even this is auto attack damage. Yeah, just the flying blades, which are not that important. When I first started testing, I tested support build 2 and support build 1 because I didn't realize that we could not proc Lucent. So I did a bunch of math and stuff, and support build 1 looks kinda good on paper if you could activate Lucent somehow, but we can't unfortunately. Support build 2 I think is a bit weaker than support build 1, but it's still okay. It's still okay. And you have to use it anyway right now. I tested everything with her skill at level 4, but obviously you want to level her support skill, that's the most important part. I also tested her with no emblems, but some of her potentials are quite good if you can get some emblems on her, and yeah. I don't think charge speed efficiency, charge efficiency is that great on her as well, because like that energy cost if you're running Shia main is not really relevant. It's maybe relevant if you want to use her standalone without Shia. But yeah. Her numbers are a bit low. Like what I usually do is that I stop the skill at level 4 and run the number, I just add the numbers together very simply on a notepad for how much damage she deals during a single skill cast. Her skill has 24 seconds cooldown, and so I just add 1, 2, 3, 4 together, and just everything that happens. And I do that for these two pings and these two pings. And the numbers for support build 1 look better than for support build 2, but support build 2 is the only one you can actually use. And our numbers seem kinda low, like compared to Donna. Like Donna has a 14-second cooldown and she does like 8000% skill damage per cast, and Firefly is at like 10,000% skill damage with a 24-second cooldown. There is a gimmick though with Firefly in that if you use her ultimate, all of her skill cooldowns are reset. So to upkeep, since she wants to be on the field as much as possible, you can kinda do something where you use her ultimate when there's only like 6 seconds left on the cooldown of the skill, so you basically have no downtime with Firefly. So Firefly will basically always be on the field if you do that, and it will also help cast it a bit earlier as well. So it's kinda possible to kinda make up for the fact that she has a bit lower numbers, but yeah. Round Triple is very strong, Blade Flash is very strong, Dominion of Fury is very good, Cosmic Balance is very good. So yeah, talents, I got like T3, but I didn't activate anything yet, but I think T1 and T3 are the best for the whole team. T4 and T5 are just damage for her, and T2 is also just damage for her. Our talents are very generic, very good. They don't require ultimate casts or very specific things, so these are just generic decent damage. As for her disc, if you were to compare her disc with a disc like Otoha's disc, this disc is magnitudes weaker. Like this disc will only buff Lux Versatile Tracker, so only herself. 30% Lux damage for Versatile Tracker is good for Versatile Trackers, but in Shia Firefly Clump, she won't do as much damage as Shia, and this is basically dead on Shia. Shia kinda benefits a lot from this Lux auto attack damage taken, so that's always good, but that's very specific, that's Lux auto attack damage taken. But it's fine, it's fine. This disc is okay, it's very good for Firefly. It's a bit it's okay. On Shia, these harmony skills are also okay, decent. Um, if you have every limited disc and all, I'm gonna go over it a bit later, but I think you run this disc, but it's not that insane, especially if you compare it to a disc like Otoha's disc. Otoha's disc, well, I have it at max level 6, but even at level 1, this is like 20% Umbra damage for the squad, not just versatile triggers, and this is 15% skill damage taken, which Otoha and Firenze benefit a lot. So in comparison, for example, Firefly's disc is a bit weaker. Shia's disc, I think, is just like better even for Firefly, and because Shia's disc just gives the squad lux damage, and then when the main trigger deals ultimate damage to a target, so if you're running Shia, that happens quite a lot. She can cast her ultimate on cooldown even though it's 40-second cooldown, but this is just lux damage taken, not specific damage type, so Shia's disc I think is better than Firefly's disc. Since Shia will be rerunning as well, I think pulling for Shia's disc may be better, even in the long run, than pulling for Firefly's disc. If you want one of them, if you can get both, then get both, obviously. But I think Shia's disc has a bit more time in it than this one. This one seems very specific, which is a bit annoying. But it's good for Firefly. So if you only have Firefly, you can grab this and it's fine. But yeah. So yeah, the presets. Yeah, I made a bunch of records, but basically what I started with is like some weird stuff with Shia. That's just when I was testing support build 1. Don't really care about that. This one is basically what you want to run. This one, actually. This one is basically what you want to run if you're running Shia, Firefly, Tilia. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, you don't really need Out to the Moon and Wave to Oblivion if you do not have talents on Shia. Her ultimate is not that good at low invest, but at higher invest it's better, obviously. Shia has a lot of talents that focus heavily on her ultimate, but if you don't have talents on her, then you can just stick with the core 3 potentials and then Ravid's Binary Pursuit to dash cancel. Firefly is just classic build 2. You can take Limus on slot and it's very good if you're running Shia main. Domain of Purity, very good. And Cosmic Brilliance, I put it at 1, but if you can get it to 6, it's obviously better. This is attack for the Firefly and Shia, so that's kinda good. And Tilia, you want basically the generic things that buff the squad, and Brilliant Relay for Shia. Light of Courage is also quite decent. This is 50% uptime. At max, it's like 90% attack, so it's a decent amount of attack. Trick boost is better, though enemy counter is the most important. But that's the classic generic Shia Firefly Tilia build, if you have it. Yeah, these ones are not important, but if you somehow have some talents or want to invest in your ultimate, if you take Out to the Moon, you need one level of Wave to Oblivion. Like, Wave to Oblivion is good to have one level just for the 30% interval, so that makes it so that it hits a lot more. And if you want to, if you have some crit rate emblems on Shia, and you want to try Out to the Moon, you need Wave to Oblivion to get a decent number of stacks, because otherwise this won't stack at all. It will be kinda bad. So yeah, that was the Shia, Firefly, Tilia. Jinglin is actually quite interesting. Jinglin doesn't really have anything that benefits the team, unfortunately. But by herself, she's a bit interesting in the fact that I think this is how you build her. I mean, she did decently well for me when I did that. I tested her with like level 90, level 4 skill, and no emblems as well. So, and she did quite decent, I guess. So what I do on Jinglin is that I just build her to maximize hit management, since this will make your skill crit and you get an insane amount of crit damage. I never really read her potential before, so that was kind of new to me. It was kind of fun. So you want to maximize the damage of your skill. Since it can only be triggered every 8 seconds, you use her skill every 8 seconds, basically. Energy storage not will make this skill hit more every 3 times. This enables you to, our skill baseline has 6 seconds cooldown and now it's 4 seconds with this. So when your skill has 2 charge, basically you use it. And this will activate heat management and this will benefit from energy storage not. Integrated energy storage is not that great because you cannot really use it. It will benefit her a bit, but it's not insane. This charge test is kinda good because you want to auto attack as much as possible between your during your 8-second cycle. So you use your skill, auto attack as much as possible during these 8 seconds to get a lot of skill damage, and then use it by hit management with hit damage. Her ultimate potentials are quite good because they scale quite hard, and she will use her ultimate a bit. So these are decent, but not as important as these. And so that's like Jinglin, she only requires really this to deal a bit of damage. And then you have Firefly with the classic build too. There I did not take Luminous on slot because you won't be able to upkeep it since it lasts only 4 seconds and you use Jingling skills every 8 seconds. This will always fade, so this will be very low impact, so you are better off investing potentials elsewhere. So yeah, you just take like Radiant Triple, Bell Flash, Domain of Purity, Cosmic Presence, and you can take some levels in Persistent Warmth. It's less priority because this only is really there when you use your ultimate. And since you're not running Shia main, it will be a bit harder to have the energy to use your ultimate on cooldown. But you will still be able to use it like 3 times, something like that. So it's still okay, but it's not that high priority. And Tilia is basic Tilia with enemy counter, Night Seal, because this benefits the whole squad. Trick Boost as well, Knight of Courage as well. Brilliant Relay and Knight of Courage are a bit less priority because they have less uptime than this potential, but they are still okay. Knight of Courage is better than Brilliant Relay in this, so I will put it a bit higher, but yeah. That's basically it for Jinglin main. And Minova main, as I said earlier, you just kinda want to use this on Minova. I think that's basically it. She can deal some damage, but yeah, I mean, basically the point to get a lot of potential on Minova is just to fill her pool because you want to get more Firefly potential. So the more potentials you have on Minova, the less likely you are to see her, and the more likely you are to see Firefly and Tilia, which basically are your main damage dealer. Firefly is basically the same thing as Jinglin because Minova cannot proc marks often enough to make Luminous Onslaught good. So that's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, rest is basically the same. Tilia is also basically the same. You can take Blinding Beam. It's a bit of damage for Minova, I guess. Not that great, but yeah, these are fine. This is basically what you want. Okay, I'm gonna talk about disc setup a bit. So like, these are the discs I was using for my records. I think if you have Shia's disc, it's kinda the best. Good generic disc. Firefly's disc is nice if you're running Firefly and or Shia at the same time. It's very good. If you don't have these, let me filter by lux. This is Shia's event disc. It's okay, especially if you have it at 6. Attack and skill damage for the main tracker. So you basically only use that if you're running Shia. If you're running only Firefly, you don't really want to use that. Battle Pass disc is very fine. It's 10% lux damage for the squad and 10% lux damage taken. It's quite good. Cataclysm Arena disc is very good, especially if you have it at 6, because this is 20% generic lux squad damage. Then this is like, it's pretty easy to get it at level 2, 5% lux vuln. And this is, even if you activate only this at 1 Radiant Bones, this is like 18% auto attack and skill damage, which benefits Firefly and Shia. So this disc is actually very nice. So you can pretty much use this disc in every time you're making a record. The final echoing disc is okay. It's a bit worse than the Cataclysm Arena disc, I think, because this only boosts skill damage. Firefly doesn't benefit from that. And the rest is like basically 25% attack if you get it. So it's not that great, but it's decent. It's decent. Firefly's event disc, I think it's okay if you're using Firefly, but it's a bit weak. Like it gives her a bunch of attack and auto attack damage, but that's basically yeah. Firefly gains attack because this is very specific. Like look, versatile tracker. Main tracker will gain a bit of auto attack damage, which is okay for Shia. Squad locks damage and just skill damage, ultimate damage. This disc is pretty weak. I mean, if you have nothing else, you can definitely use it, but it's not the best disc. Minova's disc is decent, but it's not that good for Firefly, unfortunately. If you're running only Firefly, like if you're running Shia, you can definitely use this one. It's very good with Shia. Firefly doesn't really benefit from the skill and ultimate damage. The main tracker only gets the auto attack damage, which Firefly really wants, but she doesn't get it, so it's not that good. So basically, the melody skill does nothing for Firefly. And these are okay, but not that great. So definitely use this as main if you're running Shia. If you're not, I would probably do something like this if you have them, or even something like this. I think that's better if you don't have Shia. If you have Shia and her disc, then probably do something like that. And something like that if you're running Firefly. This is a Firefly video, so probably ever. But if you didn't pull for Firefly's disc, you can just use the Battle Pass disc or Final Echoing disc. It's okay. If you're running Shia, Minova's disc is also fine, as I said earlier. And for support disc, you basically just want stuff that has a lot of attack and a lot of damage. So, for example, right now, if these were my choices, I would probably do something like that and like that. Yeah. That was basically the setup I ran, I think. And also, there's one more disc that you can use. It's not that great though this time, but Frisia's disc is always nice because it gives skill damage. But if you're running, if you don't have Shia and you're only running Firefly, then I don't recommend using it. Just get your max attack disc. So like a random disc with a lot of attack is always better. So yeah, that's basically it for discs. Can do a quick showcase, but there's not really anything to showcase. Like I'm gonna do a quick Shia run, like 1 minute, just to show you a bit how that works. Yeah, Shia, you basically want to play her by dash cancelling as much as possible. So how you dash cancel on Shia is just you hold the spacebar a bit after dashing, and then you release it, and you wait for the little particles. You wait for your drone to shoot, and then you do it again and again and again. And basically that's what you do. On Shia. Firefly, you're going to see, I'm just gonna do one ultimate rotation of Firefly to showcase a bit how that works. But we will see that I'm just gonna ult on Shia there, and I'm gonna get Firefly's ultimate, and I'm gonna use it when Firefly's cooldown is at 6 seconds, so it's coming up right now. And you're gonna see that after ultimate, I'm gonna use her instantly again, and she was basically on the field all the time. So since you want her to stay as much as possible on the field, that's kind of like what you want to do. Okay, so that was quick 1 minute showcase for Shia. I'm gonna play the Jinglin record quickly. I'm missing some stuff on this record, it's not that good, but that'll do, I think. So Jinglin is a bit different, as I mentioned. You kinda want to use her skill every when you have 2 charges, basically, to take advantage of the thing that makes her deal a lot of crit damage. And yeah, that's basically it. The boss will always have a mark on it um, because Firefly is applying marks, and yeah. Jinglin's ultimate, you kinda want to use it before break if possible. I mean, I'm gonna try to break it now. So yeah, because of her potentials, Jinglin is using, if you use Jinglin's skill, it will use basically all of the charges. Yeah, so if you don't want to keep track of her charge, you can just use Jingling's skill after Tilia's skill every time. The timing should be fine. Then you wouldn't lose really anything. So use Tilia's skill and use Jingling's skill. That's another way to keep track of it. You can see that the damage is fine. I mean, what I did 50k I think earlier. Which is not too crazy, but it's not that bad, honestly. Because right now my Firefly has no emblems and she has level 4 skills, and Jinglin is the same, she has no emblems, level 4 skills. They're just level 90 and that's it. So the damage is still decent. Firefly still does a decent amount of damage, definitely. Yeah, the only thing that would be very not very accessible in my build are my discs, which are the limited Firefly disc and the limited Shia disc. So yeah. I'm gonna use Firefly's ultimate now. So yeah, I think I played quite badly. I did like 50k earlier. Definitely doable. And the last one I'm gonna showcase quickly is the Minova team, which is even dumber than the Jinglin. You just use Minova skill every time and use Firefly skill on cooldown. Try to keep Firefly on the field as much as possible by using your ultimate at the right time, but that's basically it. And like, yeah, if you are wondering, the damage breakdown for the Jinglin Firefly team right now was like something like 30-60, 30% Jinglin damage, 60% Firefly damage. Minova, it's kinda similar, especially considering that Minova is not that geared. Minova has like level 1 skills, I think. But my Minova is T3, so it's a bit less accurate. So yeah, I think Minova has a bit more potential than Jinglin damage-wise. But both my Minova and my Jinglin are not very invested at all, like, really. So yeah, basically that's how you play this team. I did like 71k with my last attempts. But yeah, and why you want to make it so that Firefly stays on the field as much as possible is because Firefly has some potentials that requires her to be on the field to activate, and also this buff boss is like when a support tracker remains on the battlefield, you get build up stacks and you can get like 20% skill damage and 20% auto attack damage. Intensity, which I think are multiplicative. So that's always quite nice. And you get that for both your support and your main tracker. So the longer she stays on the battlefield, the better really. So yeah, I think that's it. As usual, I'm gonna share the builds in the description. All the presets I showed. And yeah, I didn't really talk about emblems, but basically on Firefly right now, since you have to play support build 2, you just want like generic Lux Pen, crit rate on like level 70 emblems, maybe auto attack damage. On level 80 emblems, you want support skill levels like 3 ideally, pen, crit rate as well. Are all good stats. And on the level 90 emblem, you cannot get pen, you cannot get crit rate, but you can get auto attack damage, it's fine. And you can get potential levels. So I think the best potentials to get levels in are Domain of Purity. This is a big increase if you manage to get 3 levels on that. Radiant Ripple is nice. Blade Flash scales very well as well. Luminous slot if you have Shia. If you don't have Shia, I wouldn't recommend getting levels on that. Cosmic Brilliance is also fine. So yeah, that's basically what you want. Domain of Purity, Blade Flash, and Triple, eventually Cosmic Brilliance. So yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for watching.